Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So if you follow me over on Instagram, then you already know what today's video is going to be about. Today we are going to try making a stop motion animation. So I'm so excited for today's video. I first saw a stop motion animation from Joni Simon at the Bite Shot, and I thought it was so cool that I had to give it a try. So I've been spending like the last couple of weeks kind of looking at stop motion animation, looking up tips on how to do one. And so today we're going to make a short and sweet stop motion animation, just because this is the first one that I've ever done. Like, I haven't even tried this before today's video, so I don't even know how it's going to turn out. So we're going to do a short and sweet stop motion animation, and I'm going to try documenting all of the bits and pieces that go into it. So what you'll need to make a stop motion animation, if you're doing this at home like I am, is first you're going to need some sort of object to move around. So I'm just going to use some marshmallows that I had in my cupboard. The next thing you're going to need is some sort of area that provides some even lighting. Now, I am going to do this in my living room, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw the curtains in my living room, and I'm just have like a makeshift light setup. I don't have any studio lights, just because typically when I film my YouTube videos, I just do it during the day where I have some natural lighting, and so I'm going to have to just makeshift with my lighting setup. So it's not going to be the greatest or anything like that, but I do want to invest in some studio lights, but you got to work with what you have. And the next thing you'll need is a tripod. So I've just got my regular Manfrotto tripod and your camera. So I'm going to use my Olympus EM1 Mark II with the 12 to 40 millimeter lens, but I think you can use any camera that you have. And you'll also need an editing software. So I'm going to post-process all of the photos in Lightroom, and then I'm going to string them together in iMovie, which is just a free app that you have on, if you have a MacBook. I think if you have like a PC, it's called Movie Player or something like that. So just use whatever you have. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first tip I heard about making a stop motion animation is to draft up a storyboard of what you envision your stop motion animation to be. So as you can see here from mine, I want the word 2021 to be the final product, and it's actually going to, when I'm filming it, I'm going to start with 2021 and scatter it, but when you actually watch it, it's going to be the reverse order. But you know, just I want the final product to be 2021. So of course, the more complicated and complex your stop motion is going to be, of course, the longer and more complex your storyboard is going to be, but I'm just going for short and simple because this is the first time I'm trying it. So that's just kind of the concept for my first stop motion. Alright, so now that we have the storyboard, let me show you the setup for today. So what I've done is I'm in my living room and I've just drawn the curtains here, just so then we've got some even lighting. And like I mentioned earlier, I don't have studio lights, so I've got a makeshift light setup. I've got my phone and the flashlight on here. I tried making a makeshift diffuser with some parchment paper, but I didn't really like the result of that, so I'm just going to go with this current setup. And then I've got my tripod there with my EM1 Mark II setup. And you're going to want to use a tripod when you are using a stop motion, just because you want every single photo to be essentially exactly the same, minus, you know, whatever intentional movement you are making in the stop motion. So you want to use a tripod for this. Alright, so I'm not sure if this tip works for every single stop motion, but one of the tips that I did hear about was starting with your final product and then moving backwards. So I have 2021, this is my final product, so I've got that laid out, and now I'm going to work backwards from there. Tip number 5 is to make very, very small movements to your stop motion. You don't want any drastic changes in the placement of your objects. So this, of course, can be a very time-consuming and tedious process, especially if you're working with a lot of smaller objects or anything like that. All right, so if we look at it in the order that we shot it in, so this was our final image. And if you scroll, you can kind of see the effect that is created. Alright, so now that we have all of our images, I'm going to take them all into Lightroom and I'm going to do some light post processing. I don't like to do a ton of editing to my images. I mostly just play around with the exposures, shadows, highlights, clarity, vibrancy, stuff like that. So I don't do a ton of post-processing, but I just want to make all of the images, make sure they look the same, and then I'm going to take them into iMovie, and in iMovie I'm going to string all of the frames together. So as you saw in sort of the behind the scenes, every single movement of it was just basically a single frame, and so I'm going to string all of the frames together now. So I'm going to make each clip as short as possible. I'm going to export the entire thing as a single video clip, and then I'm going to re-import it and make it faster. And the reason I'm doing this is just because there are some restrictions when using iMovie, which is just a free software. If you were using more advanced software like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere, then you're going to have a lot more flexibility and a lot more ability to do different things with your stop motion, but I use just the free version of iMovie. Alright everyone, so with a little bit of editing in Lightroom and iMovie, this is the final product. Some final thoughts about creating a stop motion animation and what I would do differently next time. As you can see from my clip, it's far from perfect. I did notice when I edited the shots together that they're not seamless, and I think this is for a few reasons. One, the floor in my living room is not sturdy. They shift when you walk on them, so every time I approached the tripod, it moved slightly. So this could have been mitigated if I had remote controlled my camera with my phone, but it was being used as a light source. So for the future, I should probably find a different space with better and sturdier flooring like my kitchen. As well, remote control the camera to eliminate all camera shake and invest in some better lighting. I also think that the next time I do stop motion, I want to test out a more complicated idea. Alright, so today we created a short and sweet stop motion animation. So if you do this at home, please be sure to share on Instagram and tag Beautifully Wander so I can see your creations, because I would love to see them. I really hope you liked today's video. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can go follow me on Instagram. I plan to experiment with stop motion for a while, so if you go follow me on Instagram, you'll see my later creations. If you like this video, please hit that like button below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll never miss a fun video with me. I plan to do videos like this weekly, posting every Saturday. So thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun with today's creation, and I'll see you in the next video.